You want me to read this, Steve? I'm gonna read this because Steve told me to. We want to thank Ally Bank for sponsoring the live podcasting at FinCon 18. When it comes to your money and everything you're working for, do it right. Ally. I don't think there's an Ally Bank in Canada, but for any Americans listening, do the Ally Bank thing. I can't tell you how it is because I actually can't use it. But I'm Bo Humphreys, and this is the Personal Finance Show live from FinCon. And I think I'm going to make it unedited. So there's going to be lots of ums and I know, and so I'm going to try to minimize those. But I just got to Florida from Ontario. Hamilton, Ontario is where I live. And I drove over 2.5 days. So I had about 18 hours in the car by myself. Last 2 hours I picked up Sarah Lee Kane in Jacksonville, Florida. So it was good to speak to a human being for 2 hours of my drive. But the majority of the trip was listening to podcasts. And if you listen to my podcast, then maybe you would want to listen to other podcasts. So I'm going to talk about, today, I'm going to talk about all the podcasts that I listen to. And I'm just going to pull them up on here. And, some of them I listened to for the first time. And I think they're all FinCon podcasts. And I was really impressed. Some of them have been around for a while, and they're like the top podcasts. They win awards and that kind of stuff. And they're just really well produced, and they have lots of experience and great guests, and they talk about really great topics, and they're funny. So I guess the first one on the list should be Stacking Benjamins. So Stacking Benjamins is Joe Salcihai. He's the host with OG. I think OG is anonymous. In the photo, he's got a bag over his head. The podcast is produced, edited by Steve Stewart, who is running this thing right now. Thank you, Steve, for putting this on. And, of course, Ally Bank. Can't forget to mention the sponsors, Ally Bank. I'm not getting any money for this. But, Stacking Benjamins is actually really a great show. And so which ones did I listen to? My favorite one was Kanae Corder. She's I believe financial therapist, a financial psychotherapist, and just her and Joe were just really funny talking to each other, and they talked about all the different money personalities and all the different stuff that has to do with behavior and financial behavior and personal finance is about emotions, and it's not really logical sometimes. And so, you got to know yourself, as Kanae says, and know your money personality. Another Stacking Benjamins one that I listened to, actually I listened to a bunch of them, was the episode that was a roundup of the Plutus Awards that are going to be here on Friday night at FinCon 2018. And the Plutus Awards, they're loosely affiliated with FinCon. They're not actually a part of FinCon, but they are during FinCon and hosted by in this time. And the Plutus Awards is for personal finance awards, bloggers and podcasters and people who are just doing some great stuff, coaches, advisors, and that stuff. So that was really, you should check out the Plutus Awards. There's a website, and maybe I'll mention who the finalists were on Friday. So that was a good one. There's everyone just talking about, so I got to know more podcasts. So if you want to download some great podcasts that I'm not mentioning today, because I didn't get to listen to all of them on the trip down, go to the Plutus Awards, or just Google Plutus Awards, look for that. And the top 10 finalists, they're all fantastic. And if you want to read some blogs, same deal there. Actually, anybody named on this, they're all different niches, all different themes. Financial independence is one, and frugality and budgeting and that kind of stuff. Just general personal finance like mine. There's a lot of really good stuff going on there at the Plutus Awards. So it's like the best of the best. If you don't want to waste your time searching for some great podcasts, they already did the work for you. Another one today was the 10 Money Leaks to Plug Now. 10 Money Leaks to Plug Now. I think I just messed that one up. and it was sort of like a Family Feud, I guess, format of Stacking Benjamins, and they they all just tried to guess what was on the list, and they either got a yes or a no. And what were some of them? Money leaks, or fees, bank fees. That's one of them, and insurance, and just things that you're paying too much for. Restaurants, like, you can plug all of these money leaks. If you're like, I don't have any money, where does the money go? Maybe you're going to restaurants too much. Maybe you can make your meals. Maybe you're paying bank fees you shouldn't. And there are a lot of ways to take care of that. Okay, that's enough about Stacking Benjamins. But actually, one more thing about Stacking Benjamins. On Stacking Benjamins, often as a guest co-host, I guess, is Paula Pant, and she is the host of the Afford Anything podcast, and another one that I just started to listen to on this trip. And Paula is really great at this podcast, and not only is she fun to listen to and funny and entertaining, but she has this great structure. Now on this show, I tell people stories. I'm not really trying to talk about a specific topic. Whatever comes up, we might tangent left or right, but it's really just getting to know people and their personal finance stories. And I like that format. And that happens in a lot of podcasts too, but there's also sometimes a specific topic they want to talk about. And so maybe Paula will get an expert on, and she will talk about she'll go through a bunch of questions and then participate, and then she has like this summary at the end and takeaways, and it's just really concise. And I think if you're looking to learn about specific personal finance topics, you can click through the Afford Anything list and find something you're interested in, and it'll be covered pretty much in detail. It looks like she's got about an hour per show, so that's Paula Pant's Afford Anything. Which one did I like? This I listened to a couple. Yeah, how to make better decisions. This one was amazing. Number 152 with Dr. Brian Portnoy. This guy's got a PhD from the University of Chicago, and I guess it's in like financial behavior. He's a chartered financial analyst. They just talked about how to change behavior. How to manage your expectations, and like about investments, but also this applies to everything, right? Like, how do you take away the emotions from investing, right? One of the things is automating. Everyone thinks risk is something different. If you talk to people, figure out what risk is for you before you sit with somebody and they say, do you think, do you have a high tolerance for risk or not? Well, what if you don't even know what risk means to you, right? And also, the whole thing about you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This comes down to spending and investing too, right? So if you are trying to, save money and everyone else around you is spending money, or if you're trying to invest in a regular way and everyone else is a day trader that you spend your time with, well, that's not really going to be good for your goals. So just think about that. That's Paula's show. It's actually really good. What's another one? Well, the Money and Media podcast. That's the FinCon podcast specifically. I feel like a bug just flew into my eye here. Live show, everyone. And it's Florida. It's really, really hot outside and really, really cold in here. It's like 32 degrees. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Sorry if you don't understand Celsius. But it's like, I don't know, maybe 15 or maybe 15, 18 degrees inside. It's really nice. I like it. Okay, back to podcasts. That was the weather report. So the Money and Media podcast, this is great because it was talking about FinCon a lot. And, what is FinCon, right? Does anyone know? You can go look it up, but this is a place where everybody gets together. And there's like 2,000 people who are like bloggers, podcasters, like, the people who are nominated for the Plutus Awards and that kind of stuff. It's actually an interesting place because you can find people who have been in the business for like 15, 20 years, and some people, I don't know if you know this, some people make like $1 million a year from their blog. It's crazy, right? People still can't believe this, and they have proof and all that. So it's actually true. But all these people will be in the same room, and you get a chance maybe to talk to them where you never would before. And it's imagine whatever industry you're in, if you got a chance to sit with the CEOs, or if you're in CEOs of companies, or if you're in tech, you got to meet Bill Gates like once a year, that kind of thing. I don't know, maybe he'll come to this one. No, he won't actually. But yeah, FinCon is pretty great. So talking about what's coming up and all the people that are speaking, it kind of just gets you excited for FinCon. And they have a lot of interesting things to say. Obviously, if they were picked to speak at FinCon or coming, they know a lot about the personal finance space. So Money and Media Podcast, that was good. And of course, then there's if you are looking to be a blogger or a podcaster or get into the space, and of course they talk about advice too, and you should actually come to FinCon. Another podcast is Beyond the Dollar, and this gets a special mention because Sarah Lee Kane is one of the co-hosts with Garrett Philbin. And Sarah, I picked her up in Jacksonville, and we shared the 2-hour ride from Jacksonville to Orlando. And it's just because she posted something about, taking a bus, or somebody posted something about, I'm trying to rent a car. Or I don't even remember what the post was, but it gave me the opportunity to say, hey, I'm passing right through Jacksonville, and it's actually at the time where I'm not going to be like driving for 8 hours that day. I'm coming from Savannah, Georgia, so it was actually an easy thing to just stop and pick Sarah up on the way. And I found out, I think I knew this before, but I found out more clearly that she is Canadian, and she left a little while ago to travel the world and now lives in the States in Jacksonville. So it was nice to chat with her on the way. So her podcast, Beyond the Dollar, I listened to a couple of episodes, and the one that I like, this one about money myths. We all talk about different things about money that we believe. Are they true? I don't know. Like, some of the things you might think are true, some are not, and so I don't want to spoil it for you, but they go into this in the episode. I also don't remember because it was about 16 hours ago or so that a podcast in my podcast timeline. It was a couple of days in real time. But when you listen to 18 hours of podcasts, they all kind of blur together. But I do feel enriched from the experience. So, I just listen to their show. Sometimes it's just the two of them chatting. I think actually I picked the ones where it was just the two of them chatting and they didn't have guests on. But I remember good vibes from it. I wish I remembered any content. But yeah, in the show notes here, it says we share examples of how these money myths have manifested in our own lives and what we've done to combat them. Because a lot of money myths are negative and they hold you back, right? Some are they're myths because they're probably not true. Some myths are true, but I don't know where that comes in. But some of these things that we believe, they're preventing us from enjoying money and getting what we want because we think we have to be a certain way. So it's good. I really like just conversations that expand your mind about money. Another one that I listened to and that I liked was accountability. So they talk about finding a like-minded community is crucial in making progress towards your financial goals, right? And how to engage in conversations with friends and family around money, and what to do if you're worried about talking directly about finances with someone in your life or just in general. And yeah, you don't have to do all this alone. This is something that you can do with a community. Oh, and this one's great. So what does having enough money look like? So maybe people, when they're young, they pick this number, like, I want to make $1 million. What is $1 million? What is that for, or why? Why do you want $1 million? What's it going to do for you? When you get that $1 million, what happens? And maybe if you think about this and you talk about it, you're not going to really need $1 million. Maybe you need $2 million. But you need to know a little bit more before you think, okay, I have enough money to do what I want to do. You can't just do what somebody else is doing or follow general advice, right? And they also talked about their negative feelings with money and how society has taught them to avoid negative feelings with money. You have to have a whole bunch of different feelings about money. Just explore the whole gamut, right? So this is a really good one too. So Beyond the Dollar, listen to that one. The next one is probably my favorite podcast right now. It's called The Fairer Sense, and it stars two pretty great people, Tanya Hester and Cara Perez. And this whole podcast, it's called The Fairer Sense. It's about highlighting women's experience with money, and it really kind of exposes the patriarchy and what it's doing, and it's killing our society, right? So, when people think about the patriarchy, I don't know what you think about, but what comes in mind for me is, women being like second-class citizens at some point in time, right? And the patriarchy is a remnant of that. So, like, one of the examples is the woman taking the man's name when they get married. Why? Why is that? Why is it the man's name? Why don't we just flip a coin? Why is the man more important in that case? Another one is when you have a kid, why is the default name the man's name? Maybe because of point A where the woman took the man's name. But, my wife doesn't have my name. What last name is our kid going to have? Well, if you assume that it's going to be my name, then you're actually just supporting this old school patriarchy. And we need to talk about this because we need to ask ourselves why this is. And so what the Fairer Sense does is they look at this stuff and they try to really bring it to light that there's a huge problem going on, and they talk about how it relates to personal finance. And like at some point, not even that long ago, women needed a man to open a bank account for them. This is really ridiculous. Like you couldn't have a bank account or sign off on something without your husband's approval, and that kind of just makes me angry, because no one should have anyone's approval to do anything, especially with your money. We're all individuals and we're all equal. The last time I checked, but the patriarchy tells us otherwise. So let's get rid of this patriarchy thing. And the Fairer Sense is great because they're really, really good at talking about it. Unlike me right now, who just has this peripheral knowledge, they actually give you real examples and talk about this. And this isn't about hating anyone. It's not about hating men. It's not about the future where it's only women. Feminism is about equality, and the patriarchy is not about equality. So let's stop doing this thing that existed at the time when women couldn't vote, and you paid a price to buy people. Like this is all ridiculous, right? So let's keep working to move into the future, and listen to the Fairer Sense. A great episode if you want to start is the season 1 wrap up. It's a bonus episode, and it just kind of summarizes what they did in season 1, and then maybe you can drill down and look at a topic that you liked in there. But also there's some great ones in season 2. One about toxic masculinity, where people are imposing their masculinity on things. It's really people like to think they know what being a man or is supposed to be, and you have to fit this mold. And it turns out, hey, a lot of us are different people, and we have different behaviors. So let's stop acting like there's one way to be something, right? So I love the Fairer Sense for that. Of course, I have to mention my friend Jessica Morehouse, and her Mo Money podcast. I listened to the season 6 finale, episode 165. That's a lot of episodes. Jessica's just killing it with her podcast episodes. And I think she's back with a new one in September, so maybe you'll get to listen to... Maybe she already put the new one out and I just didn't listen to it yet. But this one was great because, Jessica, she keeps it simple, right? Just introduces the guests, and then they talk about the guests. And this one was about Kathleen Hart. She is a salary negotiation coach. So, earn what you deserve, right? How to ask for a promotion and a raise. Like, these are really relevant things to everybody. When do you leave a company? When you take a higher salary? When is there a good time to talk about this? You go up to your boss and say, "I'm leaving," or else, maybe that's not the best way, right? But I've always liked Jessica's way of interviewing guests, and she's very easy to listen to, and I fully recommend. And Jessica, let's see, what else did I listen to? I listened to a bunch of different episodes of those. Oh, of course, the Money Millhouse. So I didn't know about this one, but there's this mentor program here at FinCon. And since I'm still quite new, I'm a mentee. I got hooked up with a mentor, and the mentor is Ellie Kay, and she has like 25 years experience and has 2,500 speaking gigs over the last 25 years. Like, it's crazy experience. She's got crazy experience. 15 books, I think, she's written. So I get to chat with her on Saturday. What a fantastic opportunity! And she and her daughter Bethany Bayless have come up with a podcast called The Money Millhouse. And I really liked the episode with, of course, I'm a huge Stacking Benjamins fan now. I like fun shows, and they're talking about money, so it's fun, it's talking about money. So Joe Saul-Sehy was on their show, and they talked about various things, financial education, which is very important. And what's the other one? They like to talk about coffee at the beginning, but allowance is a good one. They talk about when to give your kids allowance and how they do that. I forget which episode and what podcast I heard this on today, but somebody asked. I think it was, of course, Stacking Benjamins. How do you teach your kids about money in this age where we're using plastic, right? Because you used to give them an allowance. Here's 25 cents. 25 cents. You go to the store, you buy 25 cents worth of candy. They understand the transaction there. If you give them, like an e-deposit into their allowance app, which is how it's happening in the future. Maybe not right now, or not everywhere yet, but that's how it's going to be. Will they still understand the value of money in that way? And I think the answer is probably maybe not right away, but yes, they will. And the way to do that is to, you got to approach the conversation a little differently. You have to explain. I got 5 minutes left. All good. I think we're going to have to change the way that we talk about a whole lot of different things because of technology. But I think it was Paula Pan who said, kids understand things that aren't tangible, like germs, for example. Germs are in your skin, so you should wash your hands, right? And kids don't see germs, but they listen to us and they say, okay, I will do that. So, just because you don't see the money going to your account and you don't necessarily see it coming out and being given to the retailer, you swipe a card, you tap a card, it's still real, and they'll get that. We have to stop thinking. I think we have to stop our thinking in the old school way. Like, this was the way that I learned about it, so how will I teach my kids in this new world? Well, it's going to be different. That's the answer. It's not going to be the way that you learned about things. And I think just expecting that and expecting that not to be the same is probably the best. Like, traditions are fine, but there's always a different way of doing something, and try to think outside the box. And don't be afraid, I won't be able to teach my kids math because math is new now. Why did they change math, right? Well, some things change, so maybe you have to do a little bit of learning too. So I think that's it. I'm going to sign off of this episode and actually start attending the conference. It's crazy to travel 20 hours to get somewhere, but I really wanted to see a little bit of the United States, and I wanted to have a little adventure, and I can talk about it. And of course, I wanted to listen to 20 hours of podcasts. And guess what? I got 20 more hours on the way back. So I'm going to do that too. And all it does is just expand my my knowledge and expand my world, and I love it. So thanks, and I will see you next time.